Hello everyone, peace of Christ to you all. I am here with Chris at Speaker's Corner. This is not the first time you've probably seen us together. Last year we were on a panel together with David Wood and Bob of Speaker's Corner. And now today we are going to review a popular Muslim apologist and Sheikh called Yusuf Estes. And we are going to watch a couple of videos that had many views. One of them had millions of views and spread across YouTube and social media. So we thought it would be good that we gave our Christian perspective and critique on it. So Chris, can you just give a little bit introduction of yourself and your channel and all to those who don't know you?
Sure thing. So I'm Chris. Chris from Speaker's Corner is the name of my channel. I've been going to Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner in London for about 2 years now. I've been sharing the gospel predominantly with Muslims, although there are atheists and agnostics there as well, and sometimes like Hindus and people from other faiths. And I've been a Christian since I was 17 years old. I'm a convert to Christianity from atheism. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do. My evangelism is primarily towards Muslims, which is something that I'm passionate about. I want to see Muslims saved, and Lord willing, that's what is going to happen in our evangelism. So yeah, that's why I am here.
Good stuff. So I think we will just pretty much jump straight into it. The first, the video we will be looking at is it's only a YouTube Shorts, so it's only a 1-minute video. So I think we'll play the video through without stopping, and then after we can go back and watch more. And yeah, we are. By the way, I should tell you guys that Chris was 1 hour late, but I was 1 week late, so we had to reschedule.
That's a good point.
He's forgiven. So we are recording. We are recording on StreamYard. I never used it before, so if anything goes wrong, it's all Chris' fault.
No, it should be fine.
Yeah, this is % button. Yes, this down here.
Yeah.
You can share screen, video file, slides. Share screen, I will assume, no?
Yeah, share screen, and then it should say something like share tab, and it should show you the list of tabs.
2 hours later.
Let's try again. Let me go to present, share screen, and we'll just play the whole thing through. Let me see if this works.
Okay, yeah, I can see it.
Can you see that?
So I'm gonna add it.
Yeah.
Is that a way you can make that bigger? Or is that?
Yeah.
No, it's probably fine.
If I do this.
Yeah, that's probably fine. I can. You can like maximize the.
Oh, there. What happened? Yeah. Okay. I scrolled down. So, let me do this again. This should be fine, no?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Okay. So it's 1 minute video clip. So let's just play it through, and then we'll give our thoughts and response after.
Sure.
Here we go. Yusuf Estes, Sheikh Yusuf Estes. What do you got for us?
I used to call people to Christianity. I used to have a very bad picture about Islam and Muslims until we started doing business with a man from Egypt. And I thought right away, hey, I bet I can convert him to become a Christian. One day, while I was trying to convert him, he asked us about the Bible. So I have my Bible. My father has a different Bible. The Catholic has another Bible. And we'll sit there and try to talk to him about all this. But then we began saying, which Bible? So we asked him, well, how many versions, of that Quran do you have? He said, one. Just one. So then we had another idea. Let's talk to him about God. That when we ask him, what do you guys say about God? He is ahad, unique.
Well.
Very, very dishonest. Very dishonest.
Now, Chris, only one Quran. Is that true?
No, it is not. I have to be honest with you, Daniel. I was not convinced. You know, I could maybe no, not at all. This is just a part of the Darrow script.
You
there's a
you
lot to
hear
say
that a
on this.
lot. You hear this argument a lot by the popular, like the pop crowd in Speaker's Corner. This argumentation and slogan still lives on, no?
Absolutely, it does, and it lives on. I think in a lot of layman Muslims who aren't
Mhm, yeah.
educated, who
That's the word,
haven't,
layman. Yeah.
yeah, they haven't studied this. So they've been taught in the mosques and the masjids that there is only one Quran. There's only one Arabic Quran. There's never been any changes to it. It's been unmodified. And for that reason, they can have confidence that this is directly from Allah. Because remember, in Islam, the Quran is not revelation like in Christianity, like through the Holy Spirit, but rather it's the actual literal words of God that came down through Jibril. And therefore, they cannot have any variations. If they do, their faith is in error. And so for them, they've peddled this idea, partly because it's a polemic against Christians, because Christians, we don't have any issue with our variations in our manuscripts because we are confident they are reliable due to many different factors, the amount of manuscripts we have, the fact that they're in agreement, the fact we can date them, so on and so forth. But in Islam, it varies differently for them. They don't have that understanding. They have a sort of ride or die. It has to be 100% correct or it can't be correct at all. And for that reason, they peddle this this polemic. The Christians have all these variants. Think about, and he gave this idea that he was talking to this guy from Egypt. I don't know who this guy is, but hey, regardless of who he was trying to convince him. But they were like, which version of the Bible? Which version? And I think this is dishonest because everyone knows that when you talk like that and you talk like that in everyday language, you're talking about English translations most likely. You're talking about King James Version, New International Version, ESV, and so on and so forth. You're talking about just language translations of the original manuscripts that we have in Greek, for example. So it's dishonest to do that because we could also say the same thing, right? We could say to the Muslim, right, but hang on a sec. There's the Yusuf Ali translation. There's the Pigthall translation. There's a Sahih International translation. All these are...
all.
Albury, yeah, exactly. They're all English translations. But that doesn't mean that you have different Qurans just on the English translations. That would be such a weird argument for a Christian to make that, I've seen 3 different English translations of the Arabic Quran, therefore you have many Qurans. It's like, what? No, it's not what we say.
No, it's a really, and this again, like you said, they put a standard on our scriptures that we don't have because we believe that the Bible can be defended as reliable eyewitness testimony throughout generations by groups and by reliable eyewitnesses and just document. As the Christian faith existed way before the documents were written. I'm referring now to the New Testament and the resurrection of our Lord. But it is a problem for Islamic theology because the Quran is the verbatim eternal word of Allah. And I know there are very few, some Muslims that will try to get around that and say, no, it's not. But the reality is that is Islamic theology. And you actually risk death penalty or something like this if you say that in an Islamic state. Like it's really serious blasphemy to say anything else.
Absolutely. They are 100%. This is directly the word of Allah. And anyone who says otherwise, they are out of the fold of Islam. And like you said, that means technically speaking, according to their sources, that person is to have their head chopped off.
You might be familiar with this, Chris. Now we could talk a lot about the many variations in the Arabic Qurans because there are not just one Arabic version. There are actually over 30, I think 37 different Arabic translation, or not translation, 37 Arabic versions, like Arabic Qurans. We had Jay Smith and Hatun Tash a few years ago showing 27 of these at Speaker's Corner. and since then they found more, and there are, if I think the number is right, it's at least almost close to 40, but at the end of 30s, different Arabic Quran, not translations, but Arabic Qurans. Now, there is many variants between these. Some of them are not really serious; they're just like very simple differences, like you still get the same meaning and so. But there are also variations that are rather quite significant, like really different. And I will just mention one here, and you can share your thoughts, or even share one of yours. But the one I'm thinking of, and I will put it in the screen after in the edit, is Surah 2, 184. Now, first of all, we have Arabic Quran called the Hafs. It's used by most Muslims around the world, like it's the most popular one. But there's also another Quran, Arabic Quran, called Warsh, and that is used in the North Africa continent. And in here, let me just first ask you, Chris, what is important for a Muslim in a Muslim life? Like, beside prayer, what is important?
Okay, so you could base this off the 5 pillars of Islam. So you have Salah, which is prayer. You have the Shahada, which is a statement of faith. You have Zakat, which is obligatory charity. You have Razm, which is fasting. And you have Hajj, which is to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca, for example.
Yeah. You said fasting. Okay. So if I am a Muslim and I break my fast, like for some reason I couldn't make the fast for the day, the Quran has a way to make up for it. Allah's eternal verbatim word, never change, dot for dot, letter for letter. It has a way to redeem and to make up for this breaking of the fast, and that is that you can feed a poor person.
Yeah.
Now that is in the Hafs, but when you go to the Warsh, it is feeding poor men. And I'm taking this screenshot from Jay Smith and Syria International from Fanda Films. They're taking it from Melbourne Theological School, where they got their degrees. This is quite well known among many who are into this in Polemics. But I checked with Arabic translators, and it's the same like with English when it's plural, like poor men and men here. That is like 3 or more people. So if I break my fast, some in my Ramadan, and I break my fast, and I need to redeem it, I need to make up for it. Now, if I have a Hafs Quran, the Arabic, the Hafs Quran, I can make up for it by feeding a poor person. But if I'm in North Africa mainly, and I read from my Quran, the only Arabic Quran, may I say, then it's feeding poor men. So 3 or more. So which one is it? And the thing is here,
Exactly.
that has quite this is not just like a way of phrasing one word a little bit differently, like hard or difficult, for example. This is not like the same meaning, whatever. This is actually doctrinal implications, because a Muslim reading Warsh in North Africa, he has a different, or in a way harder way to make up for his breaking the fast, while the more popular Quran, like it's spread around the Muslim world, the Hafs, then it's just a poor person, so one poor person. So that is, again, a doctrinal issue. Now we are talking about proper, and because you just mentioned the pillars, fasting is a big deal for Muslims.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about this?
I think that's a really good example. This is in the Qira'at. This is the variations that they have of the Quran. And this is known among scholars. There's no debate, and give you some of those in a minute. But what's interesting is that this really does change the application or the orthopraxy of what it means to live out those 5 pillars, in particular in this example, fasting. And you're right, that's a key part of how you are to practice being a Muslim, and it calls into question someone's salvation if they are not practicing this as they have been instructed to by the Quran.
Yep, exactly. And I'm not going to even try to pronounce these Arabic words. They will be on the screen here. But yeah, this is just one. There are many. I
have one
yeah.
as well.
Do share.
I'd like to show you. Yeah, this is one that I prepared that I was looking into.
All right.
I'm going to try and be like all fancy about this. I'm going to try and share my screen.
Okay, the thing that I couldn't do.
Well, you'll learn. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I could share my screen, but there was no files there.
There's no...
It's just the jinn interrupting, no?
Yes, it's a jinn.
Yeah,
it's a jinn that we should blame here. It's a Dajjal.
Yeah.
It's the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got the first part. I'm just going to get the second part of this, which is not. Okay, so what I'm going to be reading from is Surah Al-Ma'idah, which is Surah 5, Ayah 89. And we'll have this up on my screen. Yep, there we go. And then I'm going to present. And then hopefully pick the right one, because it's one of these. Pretty sure it's this one.
Oh, look at that, all fancy.
Yeah, do you see my screen?
Yeah, I do. Show off.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you because this is a well-known variant. This is in the Qira'at. This is in the accepted, according to scholars like Dr. Fadel Soliman of the Bridges Foundation. He is an expert in the Qira'at. He has written a book called The 10 Noble Qira'at of the Holy Quran. I highly recommend that you read, the audience and you, Daniel, if you want to as well, if you have time in your busy schedule, to read that book, because he openly tells you what all the variants are according to the 10 accepted Qira'at, 10 accepted different readings of the Quran. Now, as you said, there's actually 37, if not more. And that's because once you have these 10, they then each have 2 people that basically narrate from these readings. And then it sort of spirals out. And then some people take some from others and other parts of the Quran from others. And then they have their own unique reading and so on and so forth. And that's how you get to 37, if not more.
But it's still word for word, letter for letter, dot for dot.
If you ignore all the different words, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so let's go with this. I'm going to read this out. So Allah will not impose blame upon you for what is meaningless in your oaths, but he will impose blame upon you for breaking what you intend of oaths. So its expiation is the feeding of 10 needy people from the average of that which you feed your own families, or clothing them, or the freeing of a slave. But whoever cannot or afford it, then a fast of 3 days is required. Now, if you just look at this translation, it says that a fast of 3 days is required. Now that's interesting. And we can actually find in the Arabic, if we just hover over here, here we go, then fasting 3 days, that is what the expiation is. Okay, interesting. So when you have an oath and you cannot hold to that oath, you are supposed to feed 10 people, or you clothe them, or free a slave. But if you can't do that because you can't afford it, then you're meant to fast 3 days. That's interesting. But there's a Qira'at variant, and I'm going to show you this now. We are going to look at Tafsir, and this is Tafsir Ibn Kathir, so one of the most well-trusted scholars of Islam. We're going to see what he says. So when it comes to... We're going to find the actual part now. There we go. So he quotes that part of the verse, but whosoever cannot afford that, then he should fast for 3 days. So he's quoting that part of the verse. Ubay bin Ka'b and Ibn Masud and his students read this ayah as follows. Then he should fast 3 consecutive days. Even if this statement was not narrated to us as part of the Quran through mutawatir narration, it should still be an explanation of the Quran by the companions that has the ruling of being related from the Prophet. In other words, because of Ubay ibn Ka'b and Ibn Masud, who are 2 out of the 4 master reciters of the Quran that the Hadith tells us to take the Quran from, so these 2 guys are the heavyweights. They are better than anyone else. You should take the Quran from these guys. they thought it had an extra word in it. And that extra word in Arabic was the word consecutive. Now you might say, oh, okay, well, this is a variant. This is pretty good. But here's where it gets interesting. There are 4 different schools of law in Islam, the madhab. And in the Hanafi madhab, and in some sense the Hanbali madhab as well, but definitely the Hanafi madhab, if you look at any rulings that they will give regarding what they should do, they say that you should fast 3 consecutive days. And the reason they say that and the others don't is because they are aware that these 2 guys used to say that the Prophet said that. So in Islam, in fiqh, in law, you have totally different schools that give different rulings based on different Qurans.
Yeah, look at that.
I thought I'd share with you.
yeah, and that's now we shared one each, but that's for fun. I will again. I'll put this on in the edit because I apparently, the gin is so strong here. Like I don't know how to share my screen. Like the pictures doesn't show up, but I have my notes here because I thought it'd be fun. Like, okay, now we've shown there are different versions of the Arabic Quran, like quite many, a few dozens. But let's just ignore that for the sake of the argument, and let's just deal with one Quran as it is. Even that has internal problems, because when you read the Hadith, you go through, for example, Sahih al-Bukhari 6829.
The second most important book of Islam, it is Sahih Bukhari.
I'll just read.
Do
Yeah.
you want to share it on the screen?
Yeah. Share it. Do you have it? Sahih al-Bukhari 6829.
Oh yes, it's one of my favorites. There we go.
Oh, it's beautiful. But again, word for word, dot for dot, letter for letter. So will you read that on the screen? Because it's not so big for me, but you can probably see it better. What does the first part say?
Actually, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Hopefully that helps. Right. So this is Sahih. This is Sahih al-Bukhari 6829. This is in the chapter to confess the guilt of illegal sexual intercourse. Sometimes the chapter names are quite funny, so I like to read them. But this is narrated Ibn Abbas. Umar said, I am afraid that after a long time has passed, people may say, we do not find the verses of the Rajam, which is stoning to death, in the Holy Book. And consequently, they may go astray by leaving an obligation that Allah has revealed. Lo, I confirm that the penalty of Rajam be inflicted on him who commits illegal sexual intercourse. If he is already married and the crime is proved by witnesses of pregnancy or confession, Sufyan added, I have memorized this narration in this way. Umar added, surely Allah's messenger carried out the penalty of Rajam, and so did we after him.
No, that's nice. That's nice. Now, Chris, where is the surah with stoning in the Quran?
There is, and I'll have to get the reference up, but there is a verse that explicitly says, and I think it's in Surah 22, but we can find it, that says what the punishment for stoning really is, which does not conform to what this hadith says it is. I'm going to share the screen. Is it this one? Yep. Because this particular surah, with this verse, tells us what the people who fornicate, what the punishment is. And it does not mention Rajam, the verse of stoning, because it is no longer in the Quran. In fact, we have this instead. It says, the fornicating woman and the fornicating man, flog each one of them with 100 stripes. That's what supposedly the punishment is. But that's
stoning?
not what the hadith says. It doesn't say anything about stoning. Do you see where it says stoning?
Yeah, with my magical Dawa eyeglasses, I can probably... I can't find it.
What it is you have to ignore the Quran, because the Quran has been... there's a second edition, Quran 2.0 called Sahih al-Bukhari, and that's where the real stuff is. That's where you have to go read. The Quran is irrelevant now.
All right. Okay. Now let's just keep going. I have another one. It would be nice if you can pull that up since you understand the screen. So, Sahih Muslim 1050.
Okay. Let's give it a go. 1050. Yep, I've got that. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Right. screen, share screen. Okay, here we go. You see this?
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay, this is Sahih Muslim 1050 chapter. If the son of Adam had 2 valleys, he would desire a third. I'm going to skip this bit.
Yeah. You can just read half around. I think you'll be fine. Or maybe
halfway
something
down.
about them. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I think you can read half. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, we used to recite a surah which resembled in length and severity to Surah Al-Baqarah. I have, however, forgotten it, with the exception of this, which I remembered out of it. If there were 2 valleys full of riches for the son of Adam, he would long for a 3rd valley, and nothing would fill the stomach of the son of Adam but dust. And we used to recite a surah which resembled one of the surahs of I'm not even going to try that word. No. And I have forgotten. Mushabiyat. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Let's go with that one.
Yeah, let's go with that.
And I have forgotten it. But remember this much out of it. O people who believe, why do you say that which you do not practice? And that is recorded in your necks as a witness against you, and you would be asked about it on the day of resurrection.
Huh. So we have a big chunk of a surah missing there. Basically just 2 sentences from that surah. But I thought that the Quran was the eternal verbatim word of Allah, and it's like you can't like they have it. They have the complete word. Like what's there?
Whoa, Daniel! What you need to understand is that they have is abrogation. So these verses are abrogated, which means that although they were sent, they were seen by only a few people. And the rest of humanity will never see them, and this is just how it works. This book, which has only ever been one with no changes or modifications, perfectly preserved, word for word, dot for dot. But when there is changes in words and letters and dots, complete different surahs actually. Well, that is just because they were all abrogated, which means that they're not needed anymore. Which is why the Quran has been perfectly preserved, letter for letter and word for word.
Of course. Now, that's interesting. So keep that in mind. Now, could you please go to Sunan Ibn Majah 1944?
1924?
Yeah, 1944. Sunan Ibn Majah 1944. That will be my last slide, but I think it should bring that up because considering what you said there, that's perfect dava.
Let's do it. There we go. Okay, so this is chapter 36 of Sunan Ibn Majah about breastfeeding adults.
Of course, that's normal.
that's normal. And this is Hasan, which means good. That means that this is reliable hadith. You will only get the best hadith from me and Daniel. No daif hadith. So, right, this is narrated from Aisha, the mother of the faithful. The verse of stoning and of breastfeeding an adult 10 times was revealed. And the paper was with me under my pillow. When the messenger of Allah died, we were preoccupied with his death, and a tame sheep came in and ate it. These verses were abrogated in recitation, but not ruling. So I guess that means it's still applicable, right?
Yeah, but it's not in Quran.
But it's not in the Quran. Okay.
No. Okay. So, we just really touched the surface here. Like, we barely scratched the surface. That's the English phrasing. But what I sit with after just these few slides and these few things that I've been watching now, the Quran, the original Arabic Quran, is forgotten. It is missing. It is not perfectly preserved at all.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I got. Like you said, we're just scratching the surface. There are so many different narrations from hadith that talk about how Uthman burnt copies of the Quran. There's so many things we could go into.
There's Quran with 160 surahs and a Quran with 114 surahs, two surahs missing.
111 and 116.
Yeah, that's the one. Mm-hmm. So wow. we just scratched the surface here, and it is the reason why we want to really attack this argument, this Islamic argument, so hard is because that is one of their main ones, and they use it to in their dawah to get people into Islam, and it's really living so strong, this argument among laymen. But as I see now after the famous Yasser Qadi interview, especially with Muhammad Hijab, when this came out, it's not many of the top Muslim apologists and scholars that will, although of course many, but I mean Muhammad Hijab, Shabir Ali, all these people, I feel are abandoning this argument, but it's still strong among the laymen. Is that correct?
That is correct, and you raise an interesting point there, because Muhammad Hijab used to say this, but now he actually uses this as an argument against Quran-only Muslims. What he says now is when he has a debate with a Quran-only Muslim, he'll say, Surah Al-Fatiha, the very first surah of the Quran, you can recite it Maliki al-Madin or something like that. Forgive me, Arabic isn't my primary language.
King or owner.
King or owner, right? And he says there are different variants. Which one is the correct one? And he says that to the Quran-only Muslim who rejects hadith, because in the hadith it tells you that the Quran was recited in multiple ways. And that's how he gets around this. So he actually accepts that there are variants in the Quran and that they are all correct. So they are all valid Quran, and hence multiple Qurans. But he uses this as a way of defeating Quran-only Muslims, which is bizarre, like, to me. I have a short on this, but all the comments are filled up with Muslims saying that, it's edited. And I'm like, it's not edited. That's literally what he said.
And of course, this video made my imam stronger.
Yes.
I was a Muslim before
Muslims.
I started watching this video, and I'm still a Muslim, alhamdulillah. Yes, I know. I have these this as well.
They're so good. I like the really creative ones, the ones that they actually make something new up. But so many are just copy and paste. Yeah.
So that is what I wanted to touch on mainly, and I really think that. I really think that this needs to still, unfortunately, it needs to be more still pushed out by Christians and apologists, polemicists, and I mean even to people that are non-believers. And there are atheists out there also who are pushing this, because this is an argument that really needs to be exposed that's completely in error. Like it's not accurate at all, and the layman is not following it, but it seems like on the bigger apologists and scholars, they are starting to admit it. It's also interesting that you mentioned that Muhammad Hijab used to say this, but now he doesn't. Do you know another argument that used to be very popular by a very popular Muslim apologist, or many Muslim apologists, but especially one at Speaker's Corner?
So there's
one recently come out.
That springs to mind is the scientific miracles of the Quran. Yeah. Which is interesting. You know what's interesting though? To give the guy credit, he tried a long while ago. He tried to tell people that this was nonsense, but I think he got so much pushback from Muslims that he couldn't really do it.
They weren't ready.
Yeah, they weren't ready. Like, so by all means, there are people like Mansour who actually still do this. Like there are videos out there today where on his channel where he still makes the claim that the Quran has scientific miracles in it. So he hasn't got the memo.
No. I think when Al-Dawa first made it, they weren't ready, but now it's being exposed so hard that there's no way to go. And I really, no joke, the internet is really, really hard for Islam. It's hitting it hard because stuff that was before very much isolated is now exposed to the whole world. And especially the Arabic-speaking people, non-Muslims, Christians, atheists, they are really, really tearing it apart now. So, it is out in the open now. Yeah, thanks to God for internet. It can be used for bad things, but it can also be used for very much good things. And I think this video is one of them. And I hope that it will encourage people to go more deeper into this. It's an interesting topic, and it really takes the. What's the English word? The crux of the heel? Is that how you say it? It really goes to the core.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how I would say that. It goes to the. Yeah, I'm not sure what the expression is there, but
no, let's just say it goes straight to the core.
That's right, to the crux of it. I think that is it. I think it is a thing. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, good. again, English is my it's not my it's almost like my third language, third language. So
that's pretty impressive. You see, when you know 3 languages, you're not bilingual, you're polylingual or
yes,
something.
yes.
Yeah. So you know,
So,
that's a cool.
how about we continue our critique and evaluation of Yusuf Estes on your channel, Chris?
Sure thing. That sounds like a great idea.
So, everyone, we have another video to look at by Sheikh Yusuf Estes. Had millions of views, and me and Chris will be looking at it on his channel, and you can find it.
Which
I don't
way?
know. We'll be
This
here.
way? This way? No, this way?
No, with
Wait.
this. Somewhere there.
It's either going to be here or it's going to be here. Like we'll
I
see.
will sit. Screen will turn out. It will be. It will definitely be there. There.
Okay.
Click
this
it.
way.
I'll pin it. I'll pin a link comment below also for sure, because we probably made it there.
There's
Check the pin comment.
somewhere
for
on
sure.
this video, there'll be a link. You should totally click
Inshallah,
on it.
you will find it. You'll find it. See you guys over there.
God bless.